You're inside the locker room on Smooth 98.1. It's Zibby and Tega with you this morning.
You say Tega, and then I will jump in. Zivi, where are you going to
Tega.
from here? Please, I hope people have to tune in. CP is going to somewhere from here. People should let me ask her in the comments. So what are you where are you going? All
I'm
right,
just
good
getting ready
morning,
for the
everybody.
weekend.
Oh no, it's thank God it's Friday. Where's your TGIF happening this woman? Tell us so
We're
we can
painting
come.
this city pink or purple.
All right. We are in the locker room. Is Friday. Yeah. Which
Yay!
means big matches this weekend, which means F1 in Miami, which means the finals of the Madrid Opens, and which means tears if you are the organizers of the Rome Masters. We'll be talking about all that and more in the story. Before we do that, if you tell us how we can be a part of the locker room this morning.
All right, just send your messages across to WhatsApp number 0809 4440981. You can tweet at Smooth981 or X at Smooth981. The hashtag is Locker Room 981. We're streaming live on YouTube as well. Yay! So you can catch the live stream, subscribe to our
Yes.
channel, and of course, post a comment on there as well.
And see just see her thank God it's Friday outfit. People should not
Tega.
dull. Oh. Don't dull today. Just watch her. All right, let's go through the headlines first, and then we run through the stories.
Okay. Champion Sabalenka sets up Swiatek rematch in Madrid Open final. Hamilton says Niue would be amazing addition for Ferrari. Postecoglou admits that's such a difficult name to pronounce, Tega. Admits Spurs have lost belief as top four bid fades. Leverkusen beat Roma to put one foot in Europa League final. Ten Hag heaps praise on exiled Sancho after Champions League star return. Liverpool expects Salah to stay despite Saudi interest. Roma host Juve as Serie A's Champions League tussle nears climax. Ragnick to stay with Austria after Bayern talks.
All right, and that's the best decision he could have taken because the Bayern job is a hot seat, and it could have quickly unraveled for Ragnick. So, I mean, his time at before he went to Manchester United, everybody said, "Oh, he was the Einstein of football. He was one that discovered the speed of light. He did this, he did that." I was like, all these people wrapped in one, and then he went to Manchester United, and he ended up looking like he was an amateur. So you can imagine if he goes to Bayern Munich now that the team is in the rebuilding process, and he doesn't dazzle, then every single mystery that he has is gone. So I think the best decision is just stay with Austria. In the secrecy of Austria, just stay there and manage yourself. But before we do that, let's go to what's happening in Madrid because Madrid is beginning to affect what's happening in Italy.
All right, defending Madrid Open champion Arina Sabalenka produced a brilliant comeback from a set and a breakdown to beat Elena Rybakina and reach the final yesterday.
Yeah, so huge one in the women's draw. Um, Sabalenka facing Rybakina, Iga Swiatek facing Madison Keys. Now, the Madison Keys Swiatek semi-final was the first one, and Swiatek kind of breezed through that. 6-1, 6-3 was like she was training in preparation for the final. But the one that you couldn't have missed was the Sabalenka Rybakina one. Both of them had hitters, both of them big servers, both of them with big forehands. And in the first set, it was Arina Sabalenka with all the errors, making all the mistakes. In fact, at the end of the set, she lost 6-1 to Rybakina, and she had a -8 when you were checking out her winners versus errors scores. Then second set, she was also broken. Looked like Rybakina was going to take the match, and she started fighting back. And you know that when she fights, she doesn't just fight. So she's fighting and she's shouting and she's fighting and she's shouting, and Rybakina is just backing up with each scream. And I would say this: Rybakina still had that match on her racket, regardless of the fact that Sabalenka had elevated her level. I think there'd be two shots that would be nightmares for her for the next couple of days. And the first one would be the volley that she had at the net that she got where she got broken to lose the second set because she had pushed Sabalenka all over the court. And then just to hit that volley in the open court, she hits it into the net. That takes them to the third set. Then she had this one where she was going to break Sabalenka and then serve for the match. And she had pushed again. She had made Sabalenka to run all over the place. And then she had the open court. All she needed to do was hit the shot straight down the line. And she hit it long. So those are the two shots that got them all the way to the tiebreaker. And it was a tough one. It's a tough loss because she really could have won yesterday's match, but she lost it. Sabalenka, of course, will be excited. She's in the final again. This was the final that they had last year where she defeated Swiatek to win. So this year, is it Swiatek's revenge, or will Sabalenka be able to hold forth and get back-to-back titles in Madrid? Wait to see that. On the men's draw, bad news for Rome, because after the Madrid Masters is the Rome Masters. But in this Madrid Masters, Carlos Alcaraz has strained his forearm injury, so we don't know if he's going to play in Rome. Yannick Sinner picked up a hip injury. He had to withdraw from his quarterfinal against Felix Auger-Aliassime, so we don't even know if he's going to feature in his home tournament in Rome. And then just yesterday, when we're going to try and manage Medvedev played 3 games and picked up a groin injury. So without Alcaraz, without Yannick Sinner, without Medvedev, Rome might just be, it's anybody's game for the other guys, but for the organizers, you want the top players participating in your tournament, and 3 of them may just be missing it. And they would have to, if they want to play Roland Garros further down later this month, they're going to have to rest their bodies and heal from all their injuries to chase the Grand Slam title, as opposed to be chasing the 1000 Masters. So it's a tough one for Rome Masters, but hey, Madrid will just be happy. At least we had them for a few matches before they picked up their injuries. That's what it is.
All right, let's move on to the next story now. Lewis Hamilton added fuel to the rumors of the future of departing Red Bull designer Adrian Newey, saying on Thursday that he would be an amazing addition for his future team Ferrari.
Yes, so remember the fallout. We're telling you that after the Red Bull scandal and Christian Horner still being at Red Bull, Adrian Newey was one of those that was pushing. He was like, they shared the messages, so people know what happened, even if they've heard a legal judgment. And so Adrian Newey had told his manager that he wants to go, so he forced himself out of the team, and he could leave as early as 2025. Now, you have to understand that Adrian Newey was the brains behind the Red Bull design that has won them the championship with Vettel and now this championship with Max Verstappen. So it's such a huge deal that a championship winning designer is leaving after, I think, 19 years on the back of this. And so everybody is jostling to get him a contract. Trust me, even Mercedes will be calling his phone at night and sliding into his DMs to try and see if he can come over to them. But the rumors are that he could be moving to Ferrari. So remember, Lewis Hamilton has signed for Ferrari. And so if Adrian Newey goes there, maybe, just maybe, that 8th world title that they denied him, may be his own. So Adrian Newey hasn't categorically said he's moving to Ferrari. He's just ending his relationship with Red Bull. But there are rumors in the paddock. I know these rumors are not baseless, that it could be Ferrari. And so, yes, with Lewis Hamilton, maybe he heard whispers, maybe he heard something. He now came out and let the cat out of the bag to say he'll be a great addition at Ferrari. Did we tell you he was going there?
Hint, hint.
So let's wait and see. Lewis Hamilton can't keep a secret, but let's wait and see how it pans out for Adrian Newey and Red.
All right, well, let us know your thoughts. WhatsApp 0809 440 You can post a comment on our live stream. The channel is Smooth981 on YouTube, and you can also tweet at Smooth981. All right, Angie Postaglu Tega, you're going to have to pronounce this name. Is this a Greek name?
Yes, and well, it's a Greek. It's a Greek origin, but he's not Greek anymore, but Ange
Cyprus?
Postecoglou.
Okay, Postecoglou. All right. Ange
Just pronounce
Postecoglou.
as spelled.
Okay. Ange Postecoglou admitted his Tottenham flops have lost belief after a dismal 2-0 defeat against Chelsea left their hopes of Champions League qualification in tatters.
Tottenham were supposed to face a lot of matches in recent weeks. Arsenal was one of them, Newcastle, one of them, Chelsea, one of them, Liverpool, and Manchester City. And a lot of people were saying, based on the form that Ange and his guys, the Ange ball here, Ange ball there, they're playing fantastic football. People thought he was going to actually be a title decider. Well, it turns out that he can't even decide the Champions League spot for himself. Because here it was, regardless of the fact that Aston Villa was winning their matches, it was still advantage Tottenham because of all the games in hand that they had. And they stepped up yesterday against the Chelsea side this season that's really given this basket of fruits. And they lost by 2-0. And here is how easy it was to beat them. One of the goal scorers, Chalobah, said that even in their pre-match preparation, they trained to take advantage of Tottenham's defenses, or when it comes to set piece defenses, and they trained to take advantage of Tottenham's poor set piece defenses, and that's exactly what they did. The 2 goals came from set pieces, and Tottenham was found wanting. Even Nicholas Jackson looked like the sharpest tool in the shed when he scored the second goal. And Nicholas Jackson, he can miss the ball that he just has to put over the line. But yesterday, he scored a brilliant header. And so it is something that teams are noticing. They have a high line sometimes so you can get the ball behind them and beat them. And they are not very good at defending set pieces. And so Chelsea just trained for that. The 2 goals they scored from set pieces, and they got all 3 points. So horrible defeat for Ange. For you to be found out, that's a huge problem. You have no mystery. If you have no mystery, you have no X factor. So for him to be saying that they've lost the hunger, it's not the players. The players are hungry to go to the Champions League. It's something to do with you. He's so set in his ways about how the football should be played that even when he's found out and it makes him easier and predictable to be beaten, he doesn't have a plan B. So this is all him. This is not his players not wanting to go to Europe. This is Postecoglou not wanting to change, to adjust to the league he's now playing in, or he's now competing in.
All right, let's look at some messages that we have coming through on the live stream. LK Aderoba says, I can definitely come to the locker room today with my shoulder pad high. We finally left Tega's curse and left 10th position. Finally, a win that made me happy. Shame on Tega. I added that part, by the way.
I know, and you will pay for it dearly.
Okay, let's see. Taya says, Zibby better drop the name and address of the person she's going to see, because if she doesn't come on Monday, there'll be problem.
Yeah, so put it, drop the name of, put it on the fridge. Post
Oh
it
my
on the
goodness.
fridge. Leave it there.
And on to Taya's message. Taya says, Tottenham with the initial gra-gra and their high press is going to expose them. Liberation from 10th place. All right. We'll continue the conversation on the other side. It's still the locker room on Smooth 98.1. Stay with us. Shame on Tega. Left 10th position. Shame, shame, shame.
Where were you when your mates were hustling for title? But they're ending the season stronger, and that's interesting to see. That may mean that Mauricio Pochettino would stay next season.
I actually thought Pochettino had some magic, but it'd be like the magic don't fade.
No, but I think he's going to stay. I mean, because think about it, the way they are going, they could finish higher than Manchester United and get into European places.
Whoa.
And if they do that, if you are Todd Bowley, would you fire Pochettino? You'd give him at least one more season.
Maybe they look shall,
That's so lively.
We
so all this one they're saying, oh, Diego Simeone, yada yada. What's his name? That they're trying to bring Antonio Conte back. Yada yada yada, blah blah blah. I'm just like, Pochettino is not going anywhere if he finishes in European
The
sports.
guy is like, all right, let me do something to keep my job.
Do you understand? If he finishes in European places, Todd is not firing him. It's more expensive to fire him than to hire him.
Because you have to pay him. All
Yeah.
right. You're still inside the locker room on Smooth 98.1. It's Tega and Zibby. Get in touch. Let us know your thoughts. WhatsApp 0809 444 981. You can also tweet at Smooth981. We're streaming live on our YouTube channel, Smooth981. Do not forget to subscribe. Tega, unmute thyself.
I said, all right, are we back?
Yes,
Let's
we
do
are.
the Okay, so let's run through the next story because this weekend is hot, hot.
Okay, well, Bayern Leverkusen have one foot in the Europa League final after winning 2-0 at Roma yesterday to extend their remarkable unbeaten run to 47 matches.
Yes, please, it's Bayern never losing. You have to be getting it right. Yeah, you're pronouncing it wrong. Bayern
I
never losing.
won.
Yesterday was such a fantastic one. So Roma have been playing and posting great results ever since they fired Jose Mourinho and hired Daniel De Rossi. So when they stepped up against Bayer Leverkusen yesterday, it was two young coaches squaring up against each other. Two young coaches who have had a great run of form stepping up against each other, and especially because Roma were playing at home. We did feel that maybe, just maybe, this is one of the days that Bayern Leverkusen will be tested. But this match was even easier than the Stuttgart match that Leverkusen had over the weekend. Because Roma were stoic. They were stoic in their defense. They tried to attack a lot more. Like I said, they were playing at home, so there's freedom of movement and there's no away goal rule to put any leash on anybody. So players are just going out there and trying to get goals. And then Bayer Leverkusen with some sweet passes. In fact, yesterday they could have scored more than those two goals with some sweet, beautiful passes to put the ball in the back of the net for the first goal and then the second goal. The second goal, there was a little bit of a distraction because one player looked like he had the ball. Then he passed the ball off and he was kicked. And the way it was a good gymnastic performance because, yes, he was kicked when his both legs were on the ground, but he flew up in the air and did one spin like that. Even Simeon Biles would be like, okay, that's such a that's such a fantastic move. And he fell. And while he was doing that drama, his other teammates picked up the ball and put it in the back of the net. So some Roma players had stopped thinking a foul was going to be given. Um, and all they could do was watch the ball go past them in slow motion and hit in the back of the net. They're 2 goals down and they're at home. So a little fight broke out. The referee handed out cards. Of course, one of the players that got the cards was Granit Xhaka. You know how it is in this life. Some things are certain. Death, taxes, and Granit Xhaka picking up a yellow card for fighting. So he's moved leagues, but he hasn't changed. And so he picked up that yellow card and the fight continues on the pitch, but Roma couldn't break through. So yes, it's going to be a tough one for Roma to go to Germany and try to now get the goals against Bayer Leverkusen. It's not impossible. It's just a little bit improbable given the run of form that Bayer Leverkusen has had this season.
All right, let's move on to Mr. Ten Hag. He says that Jadon Sancho's impressive Champions League semi-final performance for Borussia Dortmund shows why Manchester United bought him and underlined his high value.
All I can say is that they're trying to make this guy eat his heart, because Jadon Sancho put up an impressive display against PSG in the Champions League to give them a 1-goal advantage. They were playing at home, so a little bit to be expected. So they have a 1-goal advantage going into the second leg that will be taking place in Paris next week. And all of a sudden, everybody's just like, Manchester, Ten Hag is such a useless coach. Ten Hag is such a this, he's such a that. Look at how brilliant Jadon Sancho was. I was like, but Sancho was on the pitch when Borussia Dortmund lost by 4-0. Why didn't you people talk about his brilliance then? Why people cherry picking his performances? So when he performs great, Eric Ten Hag is a goat. When he doesn't perform great, everybody's quiet. We can't do that. And I also understand that when it comes to players and managers, look, I don't think I'd ever support a player disrespecting a manager. Not ever. Unfortunately, it's so sad that at the end of the day, the manager would be the one to bear the brunt of whatever consequences come out of that. But these players, especially these players these days, they get away with too much and they're so disrespectful. And they're paying them so much money to just be disrespectful. And regardless of how you want to say Ten Hag has been, Jadon Sancho was disrespectful. Very poor behavior, completely unacceptable. And people these days we say, oh, mental health, oh, freedom of expression. It's not done. That's why when I think of football in the 90s or early 2000s, I think of footballers now. It's, you can tell there's a problem. There's a growing belligerence. These guys don't have any respect. And so whether you agree with Ten Hag's results on the pitch or you agree with Ten Hag's tactics is not the problem. These players need to start representing, to start respecting the men in charge. It's that simple. And so it was a tough case for Ten Hag in Manchester United, and somebody had to go. Sancho had to go, and so yes, regardless of the fact he's performing brilliantly right now at Borussia Dortmund, he was disrespectful. I don't care what you say. Ten Hag didn't handle it well. What are you saying? Is he a baby? Why is he throwing tantrums? And the manager has to handle his emotional and it happens everywhere. It happens in the offices, not just on the football pitch. I guess which is why he's getting a lot more support. You couldn't try that nonsense with Sir Alex Ferguson. You'd either be carrying 12 stitches on your forehead, or you'll be playing for a league in a team in the championship. So these players get away with a lot, and people tend to support them because again of the times that we are in. But it was a brilliant performance. Nobody should distract from that, and Ten Hag has been getting some stick for it. So he now came out and said, okay, it was a brilliant performance. Then what? Like, what do you want me to do now that we know it was a brilliant performance? At the end of the day, he had to do what he had to do.
All right. Let us know your thoughts. 0809 444 981. Let's talk about Liverpool, which is expecting Mo Salah to at least see out the final year of his contract at Anfield, according to reports.
Well, if you're Mo Salah's family, you'll be telling him to be looking towards Saudi Arabia, because they have oil money. Oil money is a bottomless pit. Think about it. If you played 1 year in Saudi Arabia, how much more richer you'd be playing one season in Saudi Arabia. You're not telling him to use that one season to finish out his contract at Liverpool. To what end? He's won everything that needs to be won. He's won league, he's won Champions League. Okay, he has not won World Cup, but that's the business of his country. So what is he doing again? What's he trying to prove? If you and especially with the fact that he has had a deep in form, and players are fans and players are already questioning the fact that he can still compete at a high level. He doesn't need to prove anything. Just collect the money in Saudi and get a fat pension check, if you ask me. But speaking of Liverpool, playing in the league this season and trying to see out a season that looked so brilliant for them at one point in time, but could be ending on a very sad note. Liverpool play Tottenham next. Yes. So Tottenham have lost against all the big teams that they were supposed to face towards the end of the season. And Tottenham is up next. So let's see if maybe Tottenham will use Liverpool to redeem themselves, seeing that Liverpool are in a bad situation themselves. So it's a tough one for Postecoglou, but the journey is not over. And after playing Liverpool, they will still play Man City.
Oh, wow.
So if you thought 2-0 was bad yesterday, Man City and Liverpool are up next. Let's see how they perform or how they fare with those matches coming up.
All right, Roma and Juventus face off at the Stadio Olimpico on Sunday as a clutch of teams battle for Serie A's fifth and final Champions League spots.
Very interesting. So remember that Champions League spot is the fifth Champions League spot is this new formation from the UEFA Champions League, and so they were going to give two of the big leagues an extra spot. Now, Italy had already taken that extra spot because of their high coefficient. England was close to taking the second spot. Then Arsenal and Manchester City dropped the ball. And I would say this, the Premier League did not help matters, because think about it. Arsenal were going to be playing Bayern Munich, and you made them play late in the evening over the weekend against Aston Villa. Like, you didn't even give them time to rest and reset. Meanwhile, La Liga was playing Real Madrid on Friday night. Even El Clasico that they used to, they like to play night football in Spain. 10 p.m. everywhere will be bright lights and people just watching football matches. They brought their El Clasico early because both teams were competing in the Champions League. So even their league was preparing them to have an advantage in the Champions League. Premier League didn't do any such thing. Premier League was looking at their TV broadcast rights money as opposed to the extra Champions League spot. And then Arsenal and Manchester City crashed, and Aston Villa lost by 4 goals to 2 yesterday. So there's not much Aston Villa could have done to even help the coefficient to get the extra spots to England. So Bayern Munich gets the second extra spot. So there'll be 5 German teams, because Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund, how do I say it in Nigeria? Head is straight. So the fifth spot for the Champions League in Italy is now up for grabs, and Roma is gunning for it. You have to remember they lost the first leg against Bayer Leverkusen in the Europa, and they're not sure that they can go to Germany and win that match. So if there's any route that they're going to take to get to the Champions League days again, this is the way they're going to get there. And all they need to do is beat Juventus. Now I breathe. And of course, Juventus is not going to take it easy with them, because Juventus, at some point in time, they looked like title contenders, then they fell off completely. But they still want to end their season on a high. And so it's not like they're going to roll over for Roma. So that sets up for an interesting match for Roma taking on Juventus. So wait to see who gets the benefits. Juventus have been doing nothing but stretching their limbs out all week. So they should have extra fuel in the tank. Unlike Roma, who had the team that had a match in Europa, and now they have to play a big fixture in the Italian Serie A, and they're still going to play another big match in Europa next Thursday. So a lot of matches, a lot of time management, a lot of injury and recovery time expected of the Roma players, and maybe that just puts them at a disadvantage. We'll find out this weekend with what Daniel De Rossi does with his team.
All right, Ralph Rangnick has confirmed he will stay as Austria manager despite holding talks with Bayern Munich.
Yeah, so he's held talks with Bayern Munich, and now he's come out to say, I'm going to stay with Austria. Of course, the expectations would have been a lot. We don't know what was said in that meeting, but I'm sure he's interpreting it in the best way that puts him in the best light. Because you're sitting with Karl-Heinz Rummenigge. I've seen those men watch. You see, sitting with Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, Uli Hoeneß, those men were fantastic footballers, and now they are fantastic managers. So they know what they're looking for from a team. And so when you sit in front of those kind of people, they can already say that whether you're going to succeed or not. So I'm sure he had a meeting with them, and they found him wanting, and they said, no, we may not go in this direction. But he is now saying, I've decided. Anyhow he wants to interpret it, we'll take it. Bottom line is, he's not going to Bayern Munich. And we have to also remember that the fans of Bayern Munich have started taking signatures to see if Thomas Tuchel could stay in the job.
Wow.
So let's see if that PR will work. Let's see.
All right, let's look at the messages really quickly. Let's see. AY from Oniru says, the problem was always Jackson's hair. Now that he's cut it off and Breeze is now blowing his head well, it's reflected positively.
I don't blame you.
Let's see. Mohammed says, Tega, nobody denied Hamilton anything. He lost fair and square. The opponents of Red Bull are making all efforts to destroy the winning team. These big traditional constructors, Mercedes and Ferrari, don't want to see Red Bull succeed. I'm so happy that Leverkusen beat Roma. This is poetic justice. Roma sacked Jose, but Jose beat the same Leverkusen in this European League semi-final with Xavi as manager. Eric
Okay,
Benten.
so first of all, Mohammed, that is factually a lie. The official statement of the FIA is that there was a human error in determining who won the World Championship. Official statement. So it's not that Hamilton wasn't robbed. This is the official statement, that there was a mistake made. So we are not putting things together. They're just saying the result is going to stand. It's the same thing like when the referees come out and say, oh, Nottingham Forest should have been given a penalty. But the result still stands. So don't ever say he wasn't denied the world. He was denied the world championship. And even their report says it. So this
All
is not
right.
fans making up statements. I just need
Okay.
to put that out there.
All right. Ibukun from Ketsi says, well said. Tega, Sancho didn't bring the form to Man U, and he had two coaches before Ten Hag, so Sancho is the problem. This is the same Ten Hag that used him as a false nine in preseason and gave him extended time off to recuperate for his personal issues, but he still behaves unruly as he did in Man City and Dortmund. Tayo says, disrespect doesn't happen in the locker room, only banter. Nothing concerned Bayer Leverkusen with losing this season. It's either they draw or win. Liverpool better cash out on Mo Salah than let him go free. Tottenham is doing giveaway. Liverpool, hurry up. Emeka Onelim says Tottenham had cool 2 weeks break prior to their game against Arsenal and then Chelsea and next City. What were they doing during that break? Lastly, happy birthday to our Alex Iwobi. Today is his birthday. Oh,
Oh,
happy
happy birthday, Alex
birthday.
Iwobi. All right.
And okay.
On that note, we just want to say thank you for sending in your messages. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in to Smooth 98.1 FM to listen to the locker room. And till we see you again on Monday, just pray that your team is not fodder for banter. On that note, have a great weekend.